Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's segment, I will be talking about plateauing. Yes, guys and girls, I've said it. A lot of individuals that play TCGs or other hobbies alike, they do reach a certain point where they feel like they're not getting better at what they're doing. And that can suck because if you enjoy something and you're very passionate about it, sometimes you get to that point where you're like, I don't know what to do, how should I improve? And that's where a lot of complaints start stemming from. Similar to what's going on in the Dragon Ball Super card game as far as the whole format, people not liking the whole Super Shenron interaction and complaining about certain decks and cards. This normally happens when that person is suffering a lot of losses and or feel the need to have to play a specific deck in order to do well with it. Now, if you really are choosing to play the deck because you enjoy it and because you feel like it would increase your chances of winning, by all means, go for it. But you should not feel like it's the end all be all if you do not play that deck or in the event that you are taking a lot of losses and don't know what to do. Maybe what you can do is start practicing thoroughly and actually start using other methods in order to improve your gameplay. What I'm going to talk about will help you improve as a person in life, but more so as a person in this card game. I will help you get better so that you can be able to perform at events and just kind of clear your mind so that you will be more prepared overall. So, for one, if you feel like you have plateaued, one of the best things you can do is figure out what type of player you are in the card game. Are you mid-range? Are you control? Are you aggro? What type of player are you? Now, once you have deciphered that, what type of leaders have you been playing? You can go back from the previous sets where you were playing maybe from set 1 all the way to now, and then you can evaluate your performances. If you felt like you plateaued, kind of have a recollection of what you've been doing in the card game, whether it's locally, whether it's, more nationally, where you're traveling out to different states. Figure out where you were at that point where you felt like you were getting better. And then from there, you have to narrow it to where you felt like your progress became stagnant. Once you can narrow down where you kind of stop progressing in the game, that's when you can try to pinpoint what you could do better. And one of the best things you can do, honestly, is pick up different decks. If you're used to playing aggro, try playing a control deck or a mid-range deck. If you're used to playing any of the other two, try playing the others. So whatever deck you're normally comfortable with, if you feel like you're already plateaued there, start moving to different horizons. Try actually testing different type of decks that you normally wouldn't play. Because what could be happening is that certain decks that you are losing to, you may not understand them well enough, and that is the main reason as to your losses. If you don't know why you're losing to certain cards or decks, and you just feel like, oh, it's just overpowered, it's broken, it's not fair, maybe you should try to figure out what makes the deck so strong and what are you doing during your gameplay that is not working? Why are you taking these L's? Because no one likes to lose, whether you're a casual player or a competitive player. I've said that in many of my live chats. Regardless what type of player you are, no one likes losing. Now, losing is a part of the game. Pros lose, good players, I myself lose. It happens. Now, my wins obviously outweigh my losses, so I can kind of have an idea like, hey, well, I feel like I'm an 80-20% guy, where I can safely say that I win 80% of my games, if not more, and then I take the 20% losses. Again, I can go on my own performances and see where I felt like I was lackluster and where I feel that I can improve. I myself can improve in the card game, guys and girls. It's not like I'm not susceptible for improvement or I feel like I'm already at the best level you can be. You can always get better at whatever hobby you do, whether it's a sport, playing cards, whatever you do, you can get better. But you need to realize where you're falling short so that you can improve on those factors. Now, the next thing you want to do is realize do you understand the basics of the game? Do you understand when to combo, how to combo, what numbers to hit, and of course, how to play against certain matchups? All of these things compile into one major fact, and that is being able to understand the game to a point where you can perform. If you don't understand the game that well, that is another reason why your performance may not be there. We have people that are very inconsistent in this game. And I'll give you an example. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there are some individuals that will top an event here and there. And they themselves they're not consistent. They have maybe made a few top cuts and some good performances, but you want to know like what's going on. I noticed that I see this individual once in a blue and top cut, and then overall you never really see them. And it's like, well, maybe they just have a streak of bad luck. And sometimes those individuals will make excuses like, oh, I drew so bad, or oh, I played against a certain matchup that I wasn't comfortable with, or my opponent got lucky, whatever. You hear all these phrases and it's like, did your opponent really get lucky? Really? Did they get lucky? Or could you have played that game better to minimize that luck? Even the times when my opponents, I myself had that same mentality where I'm like, wow, my opponent got lucky. They ended up doing this and that and they won. And I'm like, wow, well, if I would have played the game differently after reevaluating my loss, I realized that if I would have played the game differently, I would have still won. So again, knowing that you had the opportunity of actually still beating your opponent based on your own errors or your own play lines, sometimes we go with the wrong line of play, which is another discussion in itself. When you are playing this card game, specifically the Dragon Ball Super card game, and this can go for Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, Vanguard, all the other TCGs that are currently out. So this is a video for all of you guys. When you know the format and you understand the decks that are being played, you are giving yourself a better advantage in being able to perform well. And that's again through knowledge. But we sometimes get caught up in this situation where we get very comfortable with certain decks or very comfortable with certain archetypes that we don't really dive into the other decks. There are some leaders that I myself have never played with, and I feel like I'm doing a disservice to myself by not playing them. If you want to get better at the game, you need to really broaden your horizon. Make sure that you are playing all the decks. And it may sound almost impossible, but we have some formats, or I can say platforms like Octagon and Untap, where you can actually play multiple decks and you don't have to own the cards. The whole point is getting your mindset into being able to play all those decks so that you know their strengths and you know their weaknesses. And it will help you learn how to play against the matchups. The more decks you know how to use, the better player that you will become in the future. And that's something that, again, a lot of people do not like to put in the work, which shows in their performance, and that is why they are stagnant. If you're wondering why you may be plateauing, it's because you may not be putting in enough effort in the game anymore. And there might have been a format where you were dominant and you were doing very well, but now life got in the way. You're either working many hours, you have family, you have other hobbies, whatever may be going in your life, that may be taking more time, which means that now you may have less time to play Dragon Ball Super, and that is the reason why your performance isn't where it should be, especially if you yourself crave to become better at the game that you love. And this goes for every card game, not just Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, all the games I said before, and more. That's what it comes down to. So guys and girls, in the comment section below, let me know what you are struggling with, so maybe I can do more content on it so that I can help you get better at this card game. Again, we all do hit those little points in our life where we feel like we plateaued. We just have to, as people, we have to be able to analyze what's causing that so that we can get through that and get past that and become better individuals for ourselves. Thank you for watching, and as always, this channel is all about you.